Welcome back to the CCA Lions podcast. We are officially halfway through our conference schedule for the boys and girls varsity basketball. The girls are 3-1 with 4 games left, and the boys are 2-3 with 5 games left. Last week, I was unable to get an episode out, and so today we're going to talk about the games that have happened over the last 2 weeks, as well as look at the current league standings as we are halfway through the season. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the JV boys who have played over the last 2 weeks 3 games, going back to Monday, January 24th, where they traveled to take on Salisbury Christian. They ended up winning that game 15-10. And then this past week on Thursday, February 3rd, Calvary hosted Salisbury Christian, won that game 20-15. And then yesterday, February 4th, Calvary hosted Greenwood. They ended up losing that game 32-21. So the JV boys have played 5 games. They're currently 2-3. I believe that they have 4 more games left in their season. And then on Saturday, February 19th at Greenwood, there's going to be a league JV tournament where all the JV boys basketball teams will play against each other in a tournament type format. And then the girls JV basketball teams will play against each other just to give them an opportunity to kind of play for something and get kind of a playoff type experience. So we're looking forward to that. After their 5 games, some guys who have been just sticking out on the team with their stats. Leonard Masseuse is currently averaging 8.5 points per game, 13.3 rebounds per game, and 2.5 blocks per game. And Javin Jenkins is averaging 7.3 points per game and 1.5 assists per game. Looking at the girls varsity basketball, they did not play any games these last 2 weeks, so it's been a while. They've just been practicing and haven't had any games. But currently, they sit in second place in the standings at 3-1. And after going through their first 4 games, their stats, looking at their stats, Leanna Masseuse is leading the team with 8.3 points per game, which is 7th in the league. She also is averaging 13 rebounds per game, and which is 1st in the league, 3 steals per game and 3.8 blocks per game, and she currently is leading the league in blocks as well. Madeline Hensley is averaging 6.8 points per game and 6.3 rebounds per game. Kayla Young is averaging 5.8 points per game, 3.5 assists per game, and 3.3 steals per game. She currently is 2nd place in the league in assists and 3rd place in the league in steals. Lexi Gillespie is averaging 5.8 points per game and 7.3 rebounds per game, which is 2nd in the league. And Lauren Burak is averaging 4.5 points per game, 4.8 rebounds per game, and 3 steals per game, which is 6th place in the league. Looking at the girls' standings currently, to the best of my knowledge, the top 4 seeds are going to move on to the playoffs. So that means there will be one team that will be eliminated. Currently in 1st place, Greenwood is 4-0, Calvary is 3-1, Faith Baptist is 3-3, Fairwinds is 1-3, and Concord is 0-4, currently in 5th place. On Monday, there are going to be several games played, and actually next week for both the boys and the girls basketball, there's going to be, I believe, 7 total games played. So a lot of the playoff clinching scenarios are going to probably happen next week. But right now, I do know this. On Monday, Greenwood has an opportunity to clinch the playoffs with a win versus Faith Baptist, or if they end up losing that game, they could also clinch playoffs if Concord loses. Faith Baptist has an opportunity to clinch the playoffs as well with a win against Greenwood and a Concord loss against Fairwinds. And then Concord has an opportunity to move into that 4th and final playoff spot with a win against Fairwinds. So those are all on Monday. Obviously, there's other games next week, but the stuff that's happening on Monday is going to affect what happens the rest of the week. So those are the clinching scenarios currently for Monday on the girls' side. And then for the girls, looking ahead to next week, they're going to be having 3 games starting on Monday against Salisbury Christian. So that game is probably for the best for them because they haven't played since, I believe, January 18th. So their first game is going to be a non-conference game. And so I think it's going to be really important for them to come out with energy, come out fast, to be able to just get back into the game speed, because then they're going to be taking on Fairwinds on Tuesday and Concord on Friday, which are going to be pretty big games for them in terms of the standings and conference play in the playoffs. And in their previous games before, they beat Fairwinds 34-5, and they beat Concord 53-8. And I talked about those two games in a previous episode where Fairwinds and Concord really struggled in finding their shots. And so I expect those games to be a little more competitive than they were last time. But those two games are going to be definitely very important for our girls to go in there and come out with a win as we look to the playoffs. For the boys, they played two games over the last 2 weeks. On Tuesday, January 25th, they played a non-conference game against Central Christian. They ended up winning that game 48-36. And then this past Tuesday, February 1st, Calvary hosted Chestertown for their first game against them this season. And Calvary ended up winning that game 43-30. So currently they're 2-3 in the conference. They have 5 games left. And looking at their stats halfway through the season, Evans Armand is leading the team with 21.7 points per game, which is second place in the league. He also is averaging 6 rebounds and 3 steals per game, and that those 3 steals are fourth place in the league. Matthew Wyatt is averaging 10.8 points per game, which is sixth place in the league. He's also averaging 2.8 assists and 2.3 steals per game. Nate Kaufman is averaging 7 points per game, 12.5 rebounds per game, which is first place in the league, and 3.5 steals per game. Tyler Kuhn is averaging 5.6 points per game and 8.4 rebounds per game, which is fifth in the league. And Cole Manuzak is averaging 5 rebounds per game, 3 assists per game, and 2.4 steals per game. And those 3 assists are currently second place in the league. Looking at the current boys standings, Greenwood is currently in first place at 6-0, and they actually clinched a playoff spot on Thursday when they beat Chestertown. So they are the first team to clinch a playoff spot. Concord is in second place at 4-2, Fairwinds at 4-3. Calvary is in fourth place, 2-3. And like I said, to the best of my knowledge, the top 4 teams are going to go to the playoffs. So Calvary currently has that, is in that fourth and final spot. Then in fifth place is Chestertown at 1-5, and Faith Baptist is in sixth place at 1-5 as well. And so, like I said, Greenwood has clinched. They have an opportunity this week to clinch the number 1 seed. I think they have 3 games this week, so I think even just winning 2 of those, even if Concord ends up winning some games this week, that'll give them the opportunity to clinch the number 1 seed. Concord and Fairwinds also have opportunities to clinch the playoffs this week. They have 2 games. One of them are against us, and then they have another game. So if they are able to get those 2 wins this week, they'll also clinch a playoff berth this week. Currently, Chestertown and Faith Baptist are right outside the playoffs behind us at 2-3. So right now they're a game and a half back. And they both have 4 games left, and they still have to play us once. So for them, they're kind of these next 4 games for them are very important, as well as our next couple games, especially this week. The boys are playing Salisbury Christian on Monday as well, and then they'll be playing Fairwinds and Concord on Tuesday and Friday. And in those previous games against Fairwinds and Concord, our boys team lost those games. They lost to Fairwinds 38-31, and then Concord 54-31. And in both those games, we were missing some key players, some starters. However, there were times in the game where the boys kind of lacked energy. There were times where defensively we didn't play very well. So, looking ahead to this week, we're going to be at full strength, which is good. But the keys to those games for the boys are definitely going to be the energy. They're going to need to have it the whole game, and as well as just their defense. They need to be able to go out there, create some turnovers, protect the ball themselves, be able to get some shots up, and hopefully come out with wins against Fairwinds and Concord, which would definitely help them climb out of that fourth place spot and be able to maybe get second or third as they go into the playoffs. So that is a review of last week and a look ahead to next week. And so right now there are 2 weeks left in the regular season for the league. And then starting on Thursday, February 24th, will be the league playoffs, and then the February 26th, which is a Saturday, will be the championship day and the third place game as well. So, and then also looking ahead to something that is starting at the end of this month after basketball season for Calvary is on February 28th, which is a Monday. The girls soccer team is going to start their first official practices, which is very exciting. This is the first time since 2018 that the league has had a girls soccer season. For us, we haven't played since 2018. I don't think Fairwinds hasn't played since 2018. Chestertown will also be playing, and they haven't played since I want to say 2015 or 16. And then Greenwood will also be competing in the league, and they've never had a girls soccer team before. So there's a lot of exciting stuff coming up with the basketball season getting closer to the playoffs, and then also looking forward to the girls soccer season. So we'll have a lot to talk about in the future, but that is it for this episode. Thank you so much for listening.